What up? Welcome in to the Save Saturdays podcast. This is episode number 5, filming on a beautiful Thursday. Sun's out. It's been one of the nicest days this week here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I got Will Reason joining me today. Will, how you doing?
What's up, everyone? All our listeners. It is a beautiful Thursday out today.
Yeah, you doing pretty good today?
It's like the last couple of days have been really hot, and today it was kind of chilly. Like, not chilly, but like just the right amount of like wind.
It was like...
So you're like, didn't have to put a jacket on, but you could still wear shorts out and be comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to film a long-form stand-up today out at the courthouse, and I had my AirPods in thinking that would help cut down the wind. You trying to listen to it, you couldn't even hear me. The wind was so strong. So, yeah, I think the breeze definitely helped.
I see you're wearing a long-sleeve shirt. So was it too much?
I put this on after I got back, once I was in the air conditioning again. I was wearing my nice button up.
Should we turn our heat up then? Is it a little too cold in here for you?
No, it's good.
Oh, okay.
I'm wearing shorts.
I just want you to be comfortable.
I am a little chilly at night. Got to turn the fan down, but other than that, I'm good. The real question, since you bring it up, we're in here, we're in our apartment,
Beautiful apartment, downtown Lincoln.
Let's say you contract COVID, you get a positive result, you got to go into quarantine. What's the one thing that you have to have if you're quarantined? You can't live without it.
Well, I will say I did get corona, and I did have to quarantine in this apartment.
I guess I should.
So what did I live on?
I guess I should add this too. Since you're only quarantined for 2 weeks, obviously you're not living without food, air, or water.
Yeah.
You have all those things. So
you get the essentials.
These are purely luxuries that we're
Do I get my phone, or do I get my phone? Is that a?
Yeah, we'll say that's a given. You have your phone in your apartment.
Well, this is easy to answer because I was in quarantine, and my PlayStation was probably the greatest thing there.
You're gonna go with the PlayStation?
Play some games. Got the apps on there. You can watch Netflix. Spent a lot of time on the PlayStation when I was quarantined, so I'm gonna go with that.
What would you say? Did you say you watched Netflix or played MLB The Show the most?
Netflix, for sure.
Yeah?
I rewatched a lot of series.
What did you rewatch?
Turn.
What's that about?
It's like the Revolutionary War, but like dramatic.
We're getting a head nod from Ryan Bentz over on the couch. You must be a big fan of Turn. Yeah.
See, I think Ryan's the first person I've ever met that's also watched Turn that I know. No, everyone else is like, I don't know what that is. It sounds boring.
I guess we should tell the audience. We got, for the first time ever, we've got a guest in today. Ryan's going to be on during the last segment of the day. He's going to hopefully be a recurring guest. Hopefully we don't scare him off today. He's over on the couch. He's doing his research for his part.
Grind.
Yep. He's a Texas Longhorns fan, so that's a little diversity, but also it's despicable. We're going to be throwing horns down multiple times today.
Horns down.
You know what?
Boomer sooner.
You know what I think of when I think of a Texas Longhorn fan? You know what I think?
What? That's right.
I think you can agree with that.
It's kind of rude. Ryan can't hear that because he doesn't have the headphones on.
It's better that way.
You're just roasting him and he can't do anything about it.
Better to keep him uninformed. The one thing I think that I would have to have would be my computer, my nice desktop. I watch Netflix.
Sure.
I play Madden on there. That's pretty much the only game I'm playing right now. Madden 20. Hashtag fix Madden franchise. We don't mess around with that Madden 21 garbage. So I would have to go with Madden 20 and my desktop computer.
Do some research too. Go on the internet. Surf the webs.
Record the Save Saturdays podcast from quarantine,
mm-hmm.
which Will did not do because we were still in the middle of our hiatus.
So we were separated, so don't worry. We kept our distance.
Speaking of keeping their distance, moving into our first topic, the Boston Red Sox are almost social distancing from good baseball right now. I can taste those five.
They're social distancing from the win column is what they're doing.
Those 5 Bob toast that you're going to be buying me in a couple of weeks, I can already taste some. My mouth is watering.
What was the official bet? Was it break even?
The official bet was I give you an over-under, and you took the over.
How many wins did I say?
You put 5 Bob toast on them winning more than 25 and a half games.
25 and a half.
And they're currently over halfway through the season. They're through 37 games, and they've only won 12 games.
12 wins.
So I'm really liking my odds right now.
And you should like them a lot more, given the fact that we have now sent the only 2 good parts of our bullpen to San Diego in Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry. No, never mind. They went to Philadelphia. We sent Mitch Moreland to San Diego. At the moment, our best batter. The dude was the only dude that could hit anything. JD Martinez batting like, I think, under 250. Everyone's been cold. And then we sent Kevin Pallar, a guy that we just brought in this last offseason.
Fantastic
specialist.
Fantastic contact hitter, that Kevin PR.
He's really not bad. He was actually pretty good this year. Even better fielder. First game against the Orioles in Fenway. He made an awesome catch against the wall. Got a little roughed up. And he had another diving catch, I think, last week. I mean, he was awesome defensively.
Kevin Pallar
sent him out.
He was on that Blue Jays team with Jose Bautista with the bat flip, and everyone remembers the bat flip, but
you just couldn't go another day without bringing up the Blue Jays. You just had to bring up the Blue Jays.
This is really notable. He was batting 444 in the playoffs that year. That's
pretty solid.
He was in the lineup every day. He's an everyday guy,
and he's a stellar defensive player.
Yeah.
So that was the big trades we made. We got a lot of prospects out of them, a lot of pitching, which we definitely need. So I mean,
don't get me wrong. The Red Sox are going to be fantastic in a couple of years when they're getting these guys in the majors, but that doesn't matter because this year you're going to be owing me some Bob Toast.
Yeah, we still have the talent in our lineup. I mean, the thing about these trades is none of these guys were just key parts of our lineup. We were able to keep those guys and the good guys that are in our rotation. We still got Chris Sale, Eduardo Rodriguez. I've read some stuff about Nathan Eovaldi maybe getting moved. He's kind of our 3-4 guy. Moved to the ace spot after our 1-2 guys have been gone, and he's been outstanding this year. I mean, I was not expecting him to be what he has been this year, and he's been awesome. So looking to move him. I thought we had a chance if we could pull something together to be 500, maybe pushing the wild card. But after seeing how bad we were, wasn't expecting this season. Okay. So I'll give you that. I was wrong on that. I thought we'd be better.
There are 23 games left for the Red Sox. They have 23 games left. Do you think they are going to get over 20 now?
No, I don't think they will.
So you don't even think they're going to be able to get 8 more wins?
Not right now. They're such a streaky team right now. I mean, they'll win like 3 in a row, and then they'll go lose like 10. I think our biggest one was, I think we had a 9-game losing streak. I mean, it was just, and after sending away our bullpen, there's just no bullpen left. Our top 2 guys are gone. The meat of our lineup is hitting under 250, not very great. So it's just not the year. I think that's why they're sending out guys. And these are guys that weren't like key parts of the team, but they're still guys that were performing well enough they could go get prospects out of them, and which is what we did. We got a lot of good prospects out of every single trade. And so I think keeping our core players around, we can rebuild to next year and still be competitive next year and the year after that. It's not like we're in a full rebuilding process. So, I mean, we're just going to have to give up this year, which is a quarantine year, so it's whatever. It's not a full season. So I'm not too upset about it. I'm looking to the future.
What kind of return could the Sox get for Nathan Eovaldi?
Probably not a great one.
Are you getting a top?
He's one of those dudes that like he wasn't a thing until he came to Boston. Like you heard of him, but he was like a 4-5 pitcher in his career, and then he came to Boston, and kind of that's where he proved himself. Right now is just the top of his career. What he is now is the most valuable he will ever be. I don't think you could get great prospects at him because I think he's probably 28. He's like 20, high 28s, 28, 29 years old. So you won't get a lot of stuff out of him, which is why I don't want to see us trade him because
does he throw multiple pitches, or is he kind of a one-trick guy?
I'm not sure exactly. I know he throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That's what he's known for.
Fastball
changeup combo.
That's notable enough that he could.
I mean, in today's league, everyone throws 100 miles an hour. Every roster has 3 or 4 guys that can pump 98, 99 miles an hour, and even 100.
In a top 15 farm system, a nice deep farm system, could those Sox get a top 20 prospect for him?
No, not even close.
Not even close.
Unless if there's a team that's wanting to win right now and they just need a 3, 4, 5 pitcher just right now, and they're willing to give up a high prospect. I mean, maybe, but I don't think it will happen.
What are some?
He's not there.
What are some landing spots that you could see him going to?
I don't know. I haven't read too much on it. I just heard there's rumors of him being the next guy that gets moved. There has not been a destination that I have read of. I hope there's no destinations. I want to see him in Boston because I think he has enough left in the tank over the next 4 or 5 years that he can stay in that 3-4 spot and be a vital part of our rotation. So I'd like to see him stay in Boston. He's performed best in Boston, and everyone loves him in Boston. So I love Eovaldi. His performance in 2018 in the playoffs when we won the World Series was awesome. That's when he kind of made a name for himself. He showed up a lot in the back end of that rotation. So I'd like to see him stay in Boston. We'll see.
I think another notable aspect to the MLB season, not so much about how I totally trashed you in that Red Sox debate, but also, they struggled with COVID outbreaks in the league, and they are still forging forward, and they're still having postponements due to COVID, but they keep soldiering on, and they're making it work, even though they're running into these snags that most people would have expected to completely run the season aground. What do you make of the procession through the season, even with all of these COVID issues?
I'm glad they're going through with it. I was worried that you'd get like two guys that get. I thought when the Cardinals got their COVID, I thought it was going to cancel the whole league. I'm glad that they didn't. So I don't know.
I
don't think it's not as big of a deal as what people make it out to be. I think they can finish the whole season. The only problem is it's because it's not like a bubble. It's not like the NBA where you can lock them in one place and they'll be fine. Guys are still able to leave and go out when they want, and that's just the problem. It's just guys are not being disciplined, and that was a problem with in St. Louis. The guys, I think it was like right before a game, they went to a casino in Vegas before the season started, and then like a bunch of them got COVID, and so that was just irresponsible and not disciplined at all by them. But I think as long as guys are staying disciplined, I mean, there's not a lot of, you're not being in contact, and it's not like it's football or basketball where you're constantly next to people in baseball. I mean, you're already 6 feet distanced all the time.
Well, I also
no matter where you're out in the field, except for the catcher and the batter. So I mean, I don't think baseball's I don't think it's really in trouble.
I think it's an important example for those non-bubble sports like college football, college basketball, things that are generally assumed to not be able to work in a bubble. You can look at them and baseball, they're struggling with COVID, but they're moving forward and it's successful. So, looking at that, what excuse does the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have when the MLB has experienced these COVID outbreaks and they have continued to move on successfully? And on that topic, you've started to see as more data comes out, as the CDC updates their report, that only 9,000 of the COVID deaths were actually due to purely COVID and not underlying health symptoms and COVID. I think you're seeing the Big Ten almost walk back their original decision. You're hearing rumors almost daily that, the Council of Presidents and Chancellors, the COPC, they're planning to reconvene. They might have another vote. We're looking at an October 10th start. No, we're looking at a Thanksgiving start. So I think it's really interesting that this formerly unchangeable, firm, this is the way it's going to be decision from the Big Ten is almost less likely to happen than the theoretical possibilities.
Well, I think the Big Ten, and especially Kevin Warren, I think they just made it was almost a political stance, a social stance. They thought they were like being just these pioneers in sport. They're like, no, we think about the safety of the players, and we want them to be healthy. And then they made the decision, and everyone kind of roasted them for it and got on them because it was kind of ridiculous.
Well, not everyone got on them. The national news media, they defended them.
Well,
when Nebraska was the only one who cared, they attacked Nebraska. But when Ohio State jumped in,
now Ohio State said something about it. So Justin Fields, we hurt his feelings, so we gotta pander.
Hey, nice job. You remembered his name this time.
I think it might be
he's only
the first time I've done that.
He's only the second best quarterback in the next draft and a potential Heisman Trophy winner if he were to play this season. But this is the first time Will's remembered his name.
That's true. Yeah.
It's my personal opinion that we are going to see Big Ten football this fall. If it starts at Thanksgiving or October 10th or October 26th, what have you, I think we're going to see it this fall.
Well, if the NFL can play, and if you see all the other conferences play, I think the Big Ten will just come back. If
the Big Ten starts at Thanksgiving, they will not be included in the college football playoff. Do you feel that if they play in the fall and are not part of the college football playoff, do you think that is a pointless season?
Well, no. I think it does a lot for recruiting still, and just for the programs itself.
But if you look,
the only team it hurts is Ohio State. They're the only one. I mean, maybe Minnesota, Penn State. Not really. Michigan's kind of out of it. Penn State's not really.
If you look at it, though, it's basically a meaningless season. They're only playing for the Big Ten championship.
Well, that's still pretty important. I mean, when you're looking at recruiting among the conference, I mean, if you look at Michigan versus Ohio State,
But how do you
maybe this is the year that Michigan beats Ohio State.
How do you sell
That's
that?
big for the program.
How do you sell that to Ohio
Michigan.
State? How do you sell that to Ohio State? Like, hey, you were,
That's what I'm saying.
you
Ohio
were
State's
potentially a national
Ohio
champion.
State's the only team that's really going to get hurt by that. Everyone else, not really. I mean, if I'm everyone else in the league, I'd want to play because if Michigan State beats Ohio State in this quarantine year, that's huge.
Well, then
They
if
get a
you're,
lot of recruits from that.
if you're all the teams that are not Ohio State, are you pushing for a Thanksgiving start? Because Ohio State might not be as interested in it.
Well, I'm pushing, yeah.
So you wouldn't
If
want
I'm every team in the Big Ten, I'd push for a start. Ohio State's the only team.
No. We're assuming that all the teams are pushing for a start or would be pushing for a start. And if they have to pick between October 10th and Thanksgiving, do you think they would push to be October 10th and part of the college football playoff? Or do you think they'd push for Thanksgiving and have a disinterested Ohio State?
I think they'd go for the October just as soon as possible. I would assume that other universities are not like,
I would
let's
assume that
push
as
it
well.
back just so we can all stick it to Ohio State. I mean, I'd like to think that's what they're thinking because that's what I'd be thinking. But no, I think they'll want to play as soon as possible. And they're all thinking out for themselves too. So you got teams like Penn State, Michigan, and I'm going to even include Minnesota that are all looking into the season going, we could possibly make college football playoff. And if we start later, we can't be involved in that. I mean, whether they are realistically involved in it or not, they think they will be, and they're competing for that. Every team's competing to be in the playoff, no matter what. So I think, yeah, they'll go for the October 10th. Most the higher end of the league will be, and even the bottom end. No one wants to admit they're not competing for a title.
I mean, Rutgers. Do you think they go into the season?
Rutgers is a powerhouse.
What is it? 1880.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think Rutgers is pushing because they have a real shot at the college football playoff.
I know Nebraska's pushing for the college football playoff.
Yeah, because Nebraska, we are a threat.
Watch out.
Go Big Red, baby. All right, we'll catch you guys next with more NBA playoffs discussion and a surprising coaching hire.
These my dads make it hurt.
Hey, Save Saturdays listeners. It's Ethan Petrick with SaveSaturdays.com. If you have listened to the show, you know Will and I love food almost as much as we love sports. So much so, we're making a show about it. Takeout Tuesday will air every Tuesday exclusively on the Save Saturdays YouTube channel. This new show will feature Will and I doing our patent Save Saturdays restaurant ratings while enjoying a meal from that restaurant. Remember to tune in next Tuesday, and as always, Save Saturdays. What's up, guys? We did get new music for this episode. Everyone applaud me because I did all the legwork on that one. Thank you. Ryan, clap, please. Applause. Thank you. Ryan is clapping. All right. Another reason you should be clapping is because
The Bucks lost again.
the Miami Heat are finally proving that Kris Middleton is quite possibly the worst second star in NBA history.
You don't like Kris Middleton?
Middle Chump.
Chump.
That's his name from now on. Middle Chump.
I don't know. I mean, Kris Middleton, 23 points, 8 assists, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Don't
Don't throw the stats at me.
It's not doing that for you. It's not doing it for you.
Okay.
I mean, it was Giannis that lost in the game, not Middleton. I didn't see Middleton.
That was a
commit a
BS.
foul
That was
on
a
the pass.
BS call. That was a
I
BS call.
didn't see Middleton fouling.
That was a
fouling
BS
Jimmy
call.
Butler at the end. I didn't see Middleton.
You want to know what I saw?
I saw Giannis doing that.
I didn't see Giannis
I
fouling.
saw Giannis lose them a game last night. That's what I saw.
I didn't see Giannis foul. I didn't see him foul anybody. I saw him put his hand on the back of an opponent so the opponent didn't fall over. And I saw Jimmy Butler
While he was shooting,
fall
coming
over.
down. You can't
like
be in the area when he's coming down.
Does Jimmy Butler need life alert? What's he doing falling down like that? Do his legs not work?
Hey man,
that was a BS call.
You got to sell it.
And it showed that loss showed that Middleton is not a reliable second star because when there's a capable defender on Giannis, somebody who can slow him down, not stop him. You can't stop Giannis. You can slow him down. Bam Adebayo, slowing him down. Jimmy Butler, he's arguably the best defender on the Heat. He's freed up to take on Middleton. What does Middleton do? Nothing. Silence.
Score 23 points. Against their best defender? I mean, it's not horrible. Is it max worthy? No.
Exactly. I don't know.
I think you just have a problem.
If he
you don't have a problem with his performance, you have a problem with his contract. I think he's a good player.
I have a problem with his performance
He's a
because
great
of
player,
his contract. And he asked for that contract. He demanded that contract.
Well, you didn't have to give it to him.
Well, that's on the Bucks. That's on the Bucks for lacking confidence.
So I think you have a problem with the Bucks front office more than you have a problem with Middleton and his performance.
I got a problem.
He's a great player.
I didn't want that contract for Middleton in the first place.
So you should take that up with the front office.
Last offseason, when he was asking for that, I was like, let him walk. We don't need him. Okay, it was the Bucks organization.
Do you think you'd be where you're at right now?
If we'd gone and used
if you let him walk, do you think
if we'd used that max money on D'Angelo Russell, for sure.
Really?
I mean, it would have been a hard sell to blow up that blockbuster trade that got Durant to the Nets, but the Nets still would have been able to get KD, even if they didn't have to sign and trade D'Angelo. They still would have been able to get KD, and they wouldn't have had to give up a first-round draft pick. So I think that's what the Bucks should have done, but that's water under the bridge because it didn't happen. What is happening is Middleton is losing us the playoffs because he is incapable of rising to the moment. He shrinks in the big moment. And then, because of that, we're going to lose this year. And Giannis, a guy who's all about winning, who is a winner, he's going to look to go elsewhere. He's probably going to go look for the Heat. He's going to look at the Heat or the Raptors, who are clearly doing significantly better in the playoffs, even though the Raptors are down 2-0 to the Celtics. That's a better team than the Heat.
I'd say right now, I think the Heat are a better team.
Than the Celtics?
Than the Raptors.
Well, I'm saying that the Celtics are
I thought you were saying the Raptors were better than the Heat.
Yeah, I was saying the Raptors have an excuse.
Oh, okay.
For being down 2-0 because they're playing a better team than the Bucks are playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Heat look very impressive right now. Only one dude scored more than 20 points, and that was Goran Dragic, scored 23. Jimmy Butler scored 13 points last night.
How many did Duncan Robinson score?
13.
How many threes did he hit?
I don't know. Not more than 3.
Well, that's one thing that
Hero had 17.
Yeah, they have so much.
I mean, they have everyone on that team can score. That's a team right there. And they beat the Bucks, and the Bucks are the most team oriented in the NBA.
That series is actually, I would argue, a battle of singular star versus deep team, because Giannis, obviously the number one option, everything's going through him.
That's what the Bucks are known for. They're known for their team aspect. That's what's got them so
They're
far.
not a good team though.
Right now,
their depth is weak. Like, who is their third star? Who is their fourth star? Who's their fifth star?
Bledsoe.
I can name 5 of the Miami Heat right now off the top of my head that could all be their top star every day. Obviously, Jimmy's the alpha.
That's what's scary about the Heat.
Obviously, Jimmy's the alpha, but there's 5 players on that team that could be the number one option at any given night. You can run through, if you're playing a small team like the Houston Rockets, play through Bam. You're playing through a team that has weak perimeter defense, play through Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. You need a guy to take over a game.
Andre Iguodala too. I didn't realize.
You need a guy who can take over a game. Jimmy Butler, and then you have Andre Iguodala coming off the bench. That's one of the deepest teams in the NBA.
I agree. It's a very deep team, but they're not as deep as my Boston Celtics.
You own the team?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Like Skip Bayless owns the Spurs.
Did you just needed to add in that the Celtics are a good team?
Yeah. I just wanted to let you know that they're also up 2-0.
I just like
we don't talk about it. I just want to remind everyone. Okay. Oh, and Jason Tatum scored 34 points last night.
We'll trade you Kris Middleton
Tuesday.
We'll trade you Kris Middleton for Jason Tatum.
I'll give you Robert Williams. No, he scored 11 points.
I'll take Robert Williams.
You know what? I don't want to get rid of anyone on this team because we're gonna go win a ship.
We'll take your third best player on your G League team for Kris Middleton.
You want Taco?
I will take Taco.
No, he's a fan favorite.
We
can't get rid of Taco.
Definitely
Everyone loves Taco.
So, obviously, I've made my opinions very well known about my team in the NBA playoffs. You're dipping your toe in the water. Let's just make the plunge. Tell me, what are you taking away from the Celtics this offseason or this playoff season?
They've been fantastic. I mean, we have not seen the Celtics play this good in the playoffs since Jason Tatum's rookie year when he took LeBron to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we're seeing this performance again. But this time, he's got a more deep roster. Him and Jaylen Brown are older, more experienced. And after seeing them handle the Raptors and then watching the Bucks fall, I don't see a team that can beat the Celtics right now. I don't think the Lakers can. The Clippers. I think the Clippers are the only team that could, and that's because they have the guards in Leonard, George, because we are not a very good post team. We are very guard centric, and that's where the Heat could probably get us, just like the Bucks could with Giannis. They have Bam down low. That would be a problem.
I'm glad you're mentioning that because I was about to say, of the teams they're not playing right now. So take out the Raptors. I don't see a team in the playoffs that the Celtics can beat.
Really?
I think the Nuggets. They have a solid guard, solid center. I think
one solid guard, one solid center. We got 5. We have Tatum, Brown, Smart, Walker.
You also have to include Michael Porter Jr. in the Nuggets. So you have a solid forward, solid guard, solid center, a center that can create. So you're looking at a very dangerous and lethal offense and probably one of the best defenses in the league in the Nuggets. I don't think the Celtics match up very well with them. Look at the Clippers. They have arguably the best player in the NBA in Kawhi Leonard.
I think Luka's the best player in the NBA.
Playoff P, he's coming on. He was horrible in the first 3 games of that series.
I do think the Clippers are the best team to match up with the Celtics right now, just because of those two defensively. I think they can lock up Tatum and Brown.
I think the only argument you can make would be that the Celtics could beat the Lakers. I don't think.
I 100% think they could.
I think the Celtics could beat the Lakers.
I think the Celtics would just outrun the Lakers. Anthony Davis, I mean, he'd be a factor, but not a big enough factor.
You can take one player out of the game easily.
LeBron loves to just destroy my heart when he beats the Celtics. He just has a knack for beating the Celtics. So I mean, but he's old. I mean, I just don't see him being able to keep up with our young guards. I disagree. I think the Clippers are the only team that can beat the Celtics right now. I think we're too deep at the guard position. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. We've got 3 guys that can go off whenever they want. So, I mean, if you take one away, the other 2 are just going to come back and be even stronger. Marcus Smart, one of the best defensive guards in the league, pure guard. I think he's one of the best defenders in the league. And he's also showing now that he can hit threes. He hit, I think, 5 on Tuesday in the 4th quarter. He's starting to prove that he's a shooter, which he's always been trying to be, and everyone's told him not to. But it's finally coming on. And, down low is kind of weak, but Daniel Tice holds his own. Grant Williams, Robert Williams, they both young guys that are coming on lately. So that's our only weak spot, and that's what we saw in the Bucks series last year. But with the Bucks out,
Bucks aren't gone yet.
I think they're going to be gone.
We showed resolve.
I shouldn't say that until it's over because I really want them to be out. But
Bucks were up 2-0 on the Raptors last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they came back. I don't like the momentum right now, but Giannis, he's that.
And you don't have the home court advantage.
Solid leader.
You don't have home court advantage.
Well, the series would be going back to Miami right now.
But I don't think you would have lost the first 2 games if it was in Milwaukee. I think you'd be if those first 2 games were in Milwaukee. I think you're up 2-0 right now.
I don't think that home field, home court, home pitch.
I don't think that call's made.
I don't think that.
If that's in Milwaukee, I don't think that call gets made. On Giannis.
The only reason they made that call was because they were making up for a poor call on Duncan Robinson 5 seconds earlier.
But are you saying if that's in Milwaukee, they'd make that call? Because I mean, they'd burn down the city if they made that call in Milwaukee.
You shouldn't make that call anyway. It shouldn't matter where you're at.
I agree, but I mean, if you were in Milwaukee, they're not making that call.
I mean,
you don't make that call against the home team.
You don't because you shouldn't have made it in the first place.
Yeah, it kind of was a weak call. I mean, I'm glad they did because I love seeing the Bucks lose. But yeah, it was kind of weak. It was pretty weak.
That's another aspect about it.
Pretty weak.
It was a weak. It would have been a weak call in the second quarter, tied 31-31. It's a weak call at the end of the game when you're deciding the playoffs. The game was tied, and they gave Jimmy Butler 2 winning free throws. He's not going to miss one. He's not going to miss both of them. That was a terrible call, and
yeah, I'm not gonna come back at you there. It was a bad call.
You know, you can go ahead and tell me if I'm out there, but that call might have just set the stage for the next 10 years in the NBA.
Oh my!
Whatever happens with Giannis is going to change the entire NBA landscape, and because they lost right there, momentum's with Miami. They could win this series, and then all the reports say that Giannis is out of Milwaukee.
Where's he going?
If he loses, it doesn't matter. But wherever he goes is going to be a huge power shift in the East. If he goes to the West, the East is very weak. It's the Celtics and no one. It's the Celtics and no one else. Maybe the Raptors figure it out, but I like the Celtics. I like the Celtics matching up against the Raptors. It's going to be the Celtics as the easy top dog in that conference, and the West. You have 5 teams all competing for the number 1
I don't
seed.
think Giannis is going to go.
So I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to the West. But if he stays in the East, you're going to see huge power shift because whoever gets him is either the obvious number 2 or arguably the number 1. If he goes to the Raptors, I like their matchup against the Celtics a lot better. If he goes to the Heat, I think that's an easy number 1 team.
Oh yeah, because Bam's he's a center, but he's not a Giannis. He can't stretch the floor and just beat you up and down the court like Giannis can, which is why the Celtics had so much problems with him. It's because he could post our guys up and outrun our guys. I don't think Bam can do that, so I would agree with
call.
That. The Heat would be pretty scary. They're scary now.
That call set the stage for the next 10 years in the NBA if the Bucks lose. If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, that's Ryan. I like my Bucks next 2 games at least.
You have to like him next 2 games.
I love him the next 2 games. I'm not even gonna go I love him. Giannis doesn't take losing lightly, and he's not taking that loss lightly. He's gonna come out like a man on fire. I will put 3 bob on him going over 40 points in the next game. And that next game would be Friday night. So if you guys when you're watching this on Saturday, I'm putting 3 bob on the Friday game, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the Sunday game too. So you have the chance to win 6 bob. He's going over 40 points in the next 2 games, both of them. That's a parlay. Going for 6 bob.
You want to put one on the series?
I'll put one on the series too.
Really? Another 3?
I'll put 4 on the series. Make it even 10.
Wow. I'm gonna be full on Monday or whenever the series is over.
I'm gonna be.
I can put something in the back in the fridge. Keep the Bob toast for later.
That's disgusting. You have to eat them in one sitting.
I don't know. That's so many Bob toast.
If you get a Bob toast,
that's
it's
much toast.
It's gonna be falling apart.
Like,
the
I
butter's
love
gonna soak
toast,
in so much.
but you're just kind of forcing it down my throat right now.
Okay, fine.
No, you already made the bet. No.
I'm not walking it back.
I'm
not walking it back. It's gonna be 10, but you don't have to eat them right away. I don't care.
Okay.
What I do want to know is what you think about the Lakers, the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Rockets. Who do you like in those series?
I'm not a big fan of the Lakers, but I think the Lakers are going to beat the Rockets. Purely I think they're going to win that series just because James Harden is just not a playoff performer.
Is the Western Conference Finals really Nuggets Clips?
Denver is pretty good, but yeah, I think it's Clips Lakers.
You don't see anyone challenging the Clippers out of the West right now?
I think if Denver could have played the Lakers, if you flip-flop those teams, I think Houston loses either way just because Russ and Harden just can't win in the playoffs. The fact that they won that first series against OKC is surprising, but it's OKC. No one even thought they'd be where they were at. So, I mean, it was kind of that was the easiest draw. I'd have rather have played – I wouldn't even want to play Memphis. I'd have rather – I mean, Oklahoma City was the easiest team in the West, I think.
Well, you look –
especially for being the 5 seed. I mean, that was the worst 5 seed in the playoffs.
You look at what Houston doesn't match up well against, and it's what the Clippers and the Lakers both have. It's a solid front court, and so I just don't think the Rockets are a good matchup.
I think if Denver was playing the Lakers, that'd be pretty close. I think Denver could. I think Jamal Murray's hitting hot right now, and he could have beaten the Lakers, but not. I don't think the Rockets have it. I don't think Denver can beat the Clippers. I think it'll be. Although Jamal Murray is getting hot, so I don't know. Maybe they pull something out. But I think Kawhi is gonna. I think they're gonna put Kawhi on Jamal and pretty much cancel him out. So I don't.
As of now, Thursday, September 3rd, the Nuggets have won 4 straight games. I think that's notable.
Oh, it's notable. Yeah, but they have not. They were playing the Jazz, and they have not played the Clippers yet. I think they're going to put Kawhi or Paul George is going to just lock up Jamal Murray, who's been hot. I don't think Jokic.
Can you look up? Can you look up what the season series for the Clips and the Nuggets?
I don't care what the season series is.
I care. Can you look it up for me? Because I'm thinking about it, and I kind of like the matchups for the Nuggets on the top 3 options of the Clippers against the top 3 options of the Nuggets. So I'd be really intrigued to know how they fared against each other.
Clippers 2-1.
Okay. What were the scores in those games?
Nuggets won the first one, 114 to 104. Clippers won 132 to 103, and then the Clippers won 124 to 111.
Okay, so that's not really that's not helping out my point.
I mean, it's playoffs, though. It's playoffs. It's totally different. Totally different. But Kawhi is kind of lethal in the playoffs, so that's why I'm kind of taking I'm taking. And Paul George,
and you got playoff
usually is a lethal. First round he wasn't, but I think he'll step it up. So I think the Lakers just have too much veteran experience that's still kind of young, where they can compete with the young stars of the league. So I think Jamal Murray will get canceled out.
I also think it's notable that the Nuggets only won the first matchup, not the next two, and it's been well established. It's accepted that the Clippers weren't really playing up to their potential right out of the gate. Yeah. So, I think I agree with you. The Clippers probably going to walk through the Nuggets, and Houston definitely the worst team. So,
but I think the Clippers are going to the finals.
It's the Battle of LA for the Western Conference Finals, and I think we are both in agreement that it's going to be the Clippers.
Yeah, I think it'll be the Clippers.
Yeah, I don't.
If Miami wins, I think it'll be Clippers Celtics. But if Milwaukee wins, I think it'll be. I don't want it to happen, but I think Bucks will probably make it.
Okay,
Celtics. I don't know. We played them last year, and it was a pretty close series last year. I think we've learned. We got better. But we didn't have Kemba last year, so you don't know. I think the Celtics and Clippers. Either way.
Clippers, Bucks. I like the Bucks. Clippers, Celtics. I like the Clippers. Who do you think would win in those two perspective series? Well, in the Heat too. I would like the Clippers in the Heat matchup.
Well, I'm just telling you, I don't think the Heat beat the Celtics.
Hypothetically.
Okay. Hypothetically, if it's Clippers Heat, I'm taking the Clippers. Just because the Heat are very. I mean, they have a lot of potential. They're just very young, and they have a lot of shooting. I mean, like that's kind of their bread and butter is kind of shooting.
Wouldn't you think that exceptional shooting ability would work well against the Clippers?
Not when you're going against Kawhi and Paul George.
You can only defend so many guys,
especially when you got Doc Rivers as your coach. Very experienced guy. He's been to the finals.
Kawhi can only guard one guy at a time.
But then Paul George guards the other guy.
Okay, they're four shooters deep in Miami.
And they got Patrick Beverley, another great defender. There's too much defense there. I think Doc Rivers, experienced head coach in the playoffs and in the finals.
All right.
Very young.
If this ends up being the series, we're going to talk about this again.
Okay.
If that ends up being the finals, I don't think it will be. But if that ends up being the finals, we're going to talk about this again, and I'm going to put some Bob on it because I like the Heat. I've talked to myself into the Heat in my head while you were talking about how great the Clippers were.
Okay. I don't mind taking some Bob toast.
Moving outside the bubble into the realm of losers, the Nets found their replacement for former top-tier head coach Kenny Atkinson, who I think would make a great coach in Philadelphia. They've replaced him with a name I definitely did not hear getting bounced around. And that was Steve Nash.
I didn't hear that either. That's interesting. I didn't even know Steve Nash was like trying to be a coach. I mean, I had no idea.
Do you think this is going to be like Jason Kidd in Brooklyn?
I think it's going to be exactly like Jason Kidd. I mean, I just don't think it'll work at all. I mean, the only coach that I think it's going to work out that was a player is Tim Duncan. And just because he played for Pop so many years, I think he's literally just going to be a clone of Popovich.
Do you think this helps?
But with more personality.
Do you think this helps Kyrie Irving's trajectory? Because he's kind of on the downward spiral right now.
I think this helps KD and Kyrie.
How?
Because they're both Steve Nash, rookie head coach, former player. I think he's gonna let KD and Kyrie kind of run the team. I think just because he's a rookie head coach and he's gonna let them do what they want, let them be the leaders. And so I don't think that is good for either of their egos, and they're just gonna take it too far and they're just gonna self-destruct. And there's gonna be no discipline in the coaching for either one of those two. Both guys that really don't take well to discipline anyway. And so I just don't think it'll. We saw what happened in Boston when he actually had to get coached and be coachable and a teammate, Kyrie, and it didn't work out. So, he'll probably put up some amazing stats. And the next might maybe make an 8 seed.
You look at Brad Stevens though, and he's not a Hall of Fame point guard. Steve Nash is a Hall of Fame point guard. You think you would assume that Kyrie Irving would have to respect Steve Nash just on his face, just on paper. Kyrie Irving kind of has to show him respect.
I mean, did he respect LeBron at all? I mean, we saw how that finished. I don't think he respected LeBron.
And it ended in a title, though.
It didn't end in a title. I mean, they're just both. I mean, LeBron is LeBron.
Is Brooklyn?
And they had a very talented squad. And I think Kyrie was also. He didn't have the resume yet to be able to be the guy that can just do what he wants to do. But I think that ring gave him the mindset like, okay, I won my ring. I'm just going for Hall of Fame and money now, and I just want the ball. I think that's because he didn't see that until after.
Did Brooklyn make this pick because they think that because he's a rookie head coach and he doesn't have a resume as a coach? Did they make this pick so that KD and Kyrie can control the team?
I don't know why they made the pick. I thought it was a horrible pick for coach. Couldn't tell you. I mean, it's all to be seen. And I also think it's interesting. I saw earlier that Steve Nash reached out to former teammate Dirk Nowitzki to be on his coaching staff. That'd be legendary.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe in that case, I'd say it's good then if Dirk came along. But
Dirk turned
Dirk's
him
a
down.
legend. You just love Dirk.
He turned him down.
That's unfortunate.
Well,
yeah, I'm not a fan.
We will catch you guys next time where we discuss whether we think Joe Burrow is going to work out in the NFL or if he's going to be an all-time bust.
What's up, Save Saturdays listeners? Will here with another big announcement. Airing each Sunday on Instagram, the Sunday Slices and Shanks video show will feature Ethan and I as we compete for golf supremacy. With a Bob toast on the line, each hole, every shot matters. Catch Sunday Slices and Shanks every Sunday at 12 p.m. Central Time, and always remember to save Saturdays.
All right, we're back coming at you with a little Joe Burrow discussion. Will feels pretty strongly about this. He was on fire about it. He messaged me yesterday on Snapchat and he said, "We need to talk about Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be..." What do you think he's going to be? Well,
I think he's going to be a bust.
Why?
Not for his lack of talent and skill.
Because he's on a crappy team.
Because he's on a crappy team. I think the Bengals are just horrible. And it didn't really pop out to me until I saw on TV they were interviewing Zach Taylor. And it was one comment he made. And he said all this stuff like he's been impressive. He was what we expect to be when he was number one. But there was just one line he said at the end. He goes, he hasn't disappointed one day he's been out here. And that tells me he wasn't good, great, or anything. It tells me he doesn't suck. That's what that says to me. That might say something to someone else, but basically it's saying he hasn't been sucky. And I've seen a lot of videos of Joe Burrow running for his life in practice with 4 or 5 defensive linemen coming after him.
At least we know it's not going to be a rehash of Baker Mayfield since he's actually able to run away from the defenders.
I mean, for now, until it just takes some blows in week 1.
That's
an injury. He's gonna even.
I think you're reading too much. I think you're reading too much into that quote. He's not disappointed. He's got the expectations of a first overall pick. So if you're not disappointing as a first overall pick, you're meeting those expectations.
Even if he did suck in practice, Zach Taylor's not going to come out and say, "Yeah, he sucks. We're going to go with our backup that no one knows who he is."
Well, there's clearly film out of Bengals practice.
He absolutely has to.
A third party can come out and say, "Hey, whoa, Joe Burrow, he looks bad. He looks like Jamarcus Russell out there."
Well, I don't think. I mean, I'm looking at this one stat. It says he went 19 for 33, 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Unofficially in a few practices. I mean, that's not a bad stat line, but it's also in practice. The Bengals are such a horrible team right now, especially with a rookie head coach. It's asking way too much.
There's a lot of things to like about the Bengals. They have Joe Mixon, who
very average last year.
Led the year before. He led the NFL in rushing with arguably the worst line, and they've made steps to fix up that line. All right, they draft Jonah Williams last year in the first round. He's still younger than some first-round picks from this last year. He's still younger than Jordan Brooks, the first-round pick from Seattle. So, essentially, they only had 1 pick in the draft this year. But because Jonah Williams, it's going to be his first year playing, they essentially got 2 first-round picks this year. And Jonah Williams last year, or in the last draft before this last one, he was regarded as the safest offensive lineman pick in that draft. Like, this guy... He might not end up being the best offensive lineman from this class, but he's definitely not going to be a bust. He has got great fundamentals, great technique.
I'm with you there.
they made moves in this draft to shore up the line. I can see where you're coming from. I think every first round pick, with maybe not the exceptional arm talent of a Patrick Mahomes or the mental fortitude of a Tom Brady, they might struggle if they don't go to the right team. But it's not a bad team. They're just a young team, underdeveloped.
They're going in the right direction. This year, your first couple of years sets a tone, as we can see now from Patrick Mahomes. His career is pretty much set for the future because of the first few years he had. And if look at Josh Rosen, when you kind of don't have the great first couple of years, you just can't get over the hump and recover from it. And Josh Rosen's career is pretty much done because of it. I think that's kind of what's going to happen in Cincy. And he may come out and be amazing right away. I just don't think. I think he's going to have a couple injuries with that bad offensive line right now, and it's kind of just going to set the tone for his career. I think he's going to be an average quarterback. I get a lot of Mitch Trubisky vibes from Joe Burrow, given he only had one
but Joe Burrow actually backed it up
season.
in college. Joe Burrow backed it up in college. Mitchell Trubisky, he didn't have crazy good stats in college. He didn't throw for 65 touchdowns in college.
That's true. But Mitchell Trubisky also didn't have that roster.
He had a Power 5 roster. He was at North Carolina.
Power 5 roster is different than LSU's roster was virtually an NFL team.
Mitchell Trubisky, he showed up after Marquise Williams, and Marquise Williams led them to multiple 9 and 10 win seasons at UNC. UNC was not a garbage team.
Are you saying they were LSU level?
I'm not saying they were the greatest team of all time.
I'm saying Joe Burrow.
They were a Power 5 team.
Joe Burrow had the greatest college football team of all time, in my opinion.
Okay, so
that whole lineup.
Mitchell Trubisky had
60%.
Mitchell Trubisky had 60% of the team that Joe Burrow did. Well, he wasn't 60% of the player that Joe Burrow was in college. Joe Burrow was significantly better than Mitchell Trubisky. The lack of experience is alarming, but
that's what
Joe Burrow was in a system for a long time. Mitchell Trubisky was only in college for 3 years. He came out early. Joe Burrow's coming out late. That you can use that against him. He's already who he is as a quarterback. But if who he is as a quarterback is a 65 touchdown guy in the SEC,
with the best
in the SEC, where you're getting the most NFL caliber players, and you have two teams arguing over who is DBU, because it's definitely not Texas, Ryan. It's definitely not Texas. It's Florida or it's Alabama. If he's throwing 65 touchdowns in that conference, he's already better than Mitchell Trubisky. He's always been better than Mitchell Trubisky.
His stats were great.
Immaculate. That's the best season we've ever seen.
I think I agree with you, but it's also the best season we've ever seen from a team. I think that was the greatest college football team of all time, that LSU team. That whole roster, top to bottom, every single player could have went in the first 3 rounds.
Is that a knock on Joe Burrow? He's still
got
to get the ball to him.
He still has to make the throws.
He's still got to make the decisions.
And he was very good.
He still has to avoid the sacks.
He was very good. I'm not taking away from Joe Burrow. I'm just saying, even with that talent, he didn't do anything his first year at LSU. He was very average in his first year at LSU with that same team. Maybe they weren't as prominent that first year.
You want to know?
But that was the same team, the same coach, and almost lost to UCF.
You want to know who's a pretty good quarterback who had a pretty good team in college?
Who?
Deshaun Watson.
He did.
Yeah, and he never had this. That
team was not near.
He played in a lesser conference. He played in the ACC when Florida State was at its worst. And I mean, Louisville was good, but they were a one-trick pony. You take Lamar Jackson out of the game.
I'm not putting a blanket over every quarterback that played for a good team.
But you're using it as a knock against Joe Burrow.
Because that team was uncharacteristically amazing. Like, it was the greatest team we've ever seen. I mean, Tua had a great team, not even close to what LSU had.
Yeah, he had a good team, but he didn't throw for 65 touchdowns. Even if he had been healthy,
you're trying to act like I think Burrow's bad and he had a horrible season.
You're acting like his season is discounted because he had a good team. But other people have had good teams and
my first thing I said was that he's going to be bad, not for a lack of talent or skill, because the team around him. He went from the greatest college football team of all time that I've ever seen in my life, which isn't long, but still, it's impressive, to the worst team in the NFL.
They're not the worst team. Have you turned on any Jets tape lately? Have you turned on any?
Oh, I think the Jets could beat the Bengals right now.
I
don't think the Dolphins are no longer. The Dolphins definitely aren't the worst team in the league. Even if
how many ghosts has Joe Burrow seen? How many ghosts has Joe Burrow seen?
Wait till he plays the Patriots, and we'll see a few.
I can name a safety on on the Bengals? The Jets
This
just got rid of their best.
This isn't the point.
The Jets just got.
This isn't the point. The point is, whether they're the worst team, second worst team, third worst team, they're a really bad football team. Despite Joe Mixon,
they had a rookie head coach last year. They were implementing a new system last year.
Despite all that, and the young coach, inexperienced in the division that they're in. Don't use
Nebraska's Zach Taylor against us like that.
Even the Browns, I think, have way more talent than
the Browns are arguably the most talented roster in the NFL.
Exactly. And now you're asking Joe Burrow to go up against the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers. I mean, it's just not with the bad roster they have, very inexperienced, horrible offensive line. After he just got out of college.
Okay, are you arguing if the Bengals are going to be good next year or if Joe Burrow's going to be good? Because I'm saying Joe Burrow's going to be good. You can still be good.
I think the Bengals are going to be
find
horrible,
team success.
but I think Joe Burrow is going to be bad in his career-wise. I'm talking career. Next season, he may be fine. I mean, Baker Mayfield was fine in his first season. He was good when he first started playing.
I think Joe Burrow is going to be better.
I mean, that's not hard. Baker's not very good. But, I mean, Baker had a great first rookie season. I mean, he may be great this year because no one's going to know how to stop him or how to really plan for him. But I think career-wise, he's not going to be a first-round pick. He's not going to be what he was meant to be.
Well,
so
I
have nothing against Joe Burrow.
You're predicting bust career. I'm not predicting a bust career.
But I have nothing against Joe Burrow. I think if Joe Burrow went to a good system, he'd have been fantastic. Same thing with Josh Rosen. I think that was I don't think you understood that coming from my argument. I had nothing against Joe Burrow. I have a problem with the Bengals.
Well, and I'm trying to say that problem with the Bengals is unfounded because.
Are you saying the Bengals are a good
you're saying Joe Burrow's going to be a bust because he's on a bad team. And I'm saying Joe Burrow's going to be good even in spite of the fact that he's on a bad team.
Well, then you just love Joe Burrow more than I do.
I have more respect for him. I have more respect for 65 touchdowns in a single season in the SEC.
On the best football team of all time.
Also notable, a quarterback who formerly holds the NFL touchdown record in a single season, Tom Brady. And I think you guys all know what time it is. It's time for the TB 12 seconds. These are the worst 12 seconds of every Saturday for everybody listening except for Will.
And all the other Patriots fans.
So, without further ado,
now Bucks fans.
Let's kick it off.
Are you ready? Let's go!
All right, guys, TB12 seconds. We know how great his diet is now, the TB12 diet, but when he was a rookie in 2000, when he was a fourth string, his go-to lunch before games were ham and cheese subs, onion rings, washed down with an orange soda and pizza before every single game.
Ooh, just before the clock. All right.
That was so fast, I don't even know if you understand it, but I was crunched for time.
A sub, onion rings, washed down with the soda.
Ham and cheese subs, yeah.
All right.
Pizza before every game. But now he's eating kale.
All right.
I think that was what determined his career. He put the pizza down.
Now it's time for the end of the show wrap up where we're going to be bringing on Ryan Bence for the Bence's Bets of the Week. Ryan Bence is quite possibly the only person I know who bets on sports. Former co-worker with the UNL track and field team of mine. Always looking to make a buck on NASCAR, golf. You could consider him a NASCAR expert. So without further ado, let's welcome Orion. Ryan, how you doing today?
Doing well, Ethan. Thanks for having me. And everything you said there was true.
You want to flip the mic around so you're looking at it? There you go. Yeah.
All right, how's this?
That's much better. Tilt it up towards your face a little bit.
There you go. How's that?
That's perfect.
All right.
You need a table.
I do need a table. And you know what? I need a microphone too.
You need a microphone? Yeah. We tried to get you one. They didn't have any in stock at Guitar Center. Maybe Will, since he's not doing anything, can grab you a table real quick. Grab a table real quick. There we go.
Oh yeah, here we go.
This is definitely making the final cut. This is definitely going to be making the final cut. All right, now without further ado, let's get into the Bence's Bets of the Week.
All right, beautiful. All right, so Ethan, you a big golf guy?
I'm not a big golf guy. I'm not very good at golf, that's for sure. I mean, you saw it firsthand last week.
I witnessed that.
So, are you starting us off with a little PGA?
I am. And I know last week I watched the BMW Championship, and I saw saw a couple rare names that made it to the top. One, Joaquin Niemann, 21 years old, finished top 3. I think he might be a sleeper for this PGA Tour Championship.
And so, what's the line? What's the line on him?
The line on him, I don't have that on right now.
Is he? It's going to be pretty. No one expects him to be good, do they? Or is he seeing a lot of? Is he seeing a lot of?
Well, no. I mean, I don't think nobody knows his name. I know that for sure. But he's my sleeper.
All right.
But for my pick to win it all, DJ Dustin Johnson.
Now that's a favorite. So I mean, if you make that bet, you're not winning much.
No, you probably win what you bet.
So what would be the purpose of making a bet like that?
Oh, confidence.
A little confidence.
Yeah.
Get your betting percentage up so you can be considered a pro bettor. 55%.
Right. For sure. But I also have a few other picks.
You have anybody you want to avoid this week?
Avoid, yes.
Who you got?
So, Rory Mcilroy, 2-time FedEx Cup championship. He and his wife had just received their first child.
And you don't like him because of that.
Well, here's the thing, Ethan. So,
He's gonna be on the top of his world. He's high on life right now. I think he's gonna golf his best.
You might think that, but here's the thing. He told Golf Digest that he will withdraw from the tour or from the tour championship if he has to. If his child comes by the time.
So the child isn't born yet. The child's not born yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a baby girl in there, and she was born yesterday.
Okay.
So, and today was actually the start of the tournament, but I think they had a weather delay.
So he's golfing, but he said that if she was 4 days later, he would have dropped out.
Right. Exactly.
So you don't think he's all in on it?
Right. So I wouldn't expect him to finish the tournament. We might see WD withdraw from him by the end of the week, so he'd be my bet. Stay away.
You want to stay away from Rory?
Rory McIlroy.
Is Tiger golfing this week?
Tiger's not. He's out.
Okay. So who are the favorites? Like Brooks Koepka, DJ?
Brooks is also out.
He's out?
Oh, yeah. Brooks has been out. Injury, I think.
Oh, really?
But so what we got here, I think Webb Simpson's good solid pick. He's at 11-1 odds.
He just won a big tournament in the last year, didn't he?
Yes.
Which tournament did he win?
I think it was the last year's FedEx Cup.
Okay. I remember. I vaguely remember that name.
Yeah.
Obviously,
he does have a familiar name.
Not a big golf guy. So.
Right.
Okay. So you got a line for us on
Webb Simpson 11-1.
All right.
11-1 odds.
So you like that bet?
I do. I personally do. Webb Simpson. He didn't play in the last week's BMW tournament.
So he's rested.
Right, he rested it, but now he feels confident for this upcoming week. So I would expect a lot from Webb Simpson this weekend. Another bet would be Daniel Berger. He's a -120, and that's to reach the top 10, finish the top 10. So not to win, but just to finish inside the top 10.
Does he have is he pretty consistent?
He's very consistent. I think he's very consistent.
Okay.
He's finished in the last top 25 last week and 3 straight top 15s the week before that. Very consistent golfer. I think he's also a very good golfer. I think he has a chance to win as well.
Okay, so
a solid top 10 finish with Daniel Berger.
Good bets. Daniel Berger, Webb, DJ. Stay away from Rory. And who was your sleeper?
My sleeper, Joaquin Niemann.
Joaquin Niemann.
Look out for that name.
You got a line. You got a line on him?
There's no line for him. I think he's probably. I mean. For me,
Vegas is out on Joaquin Niemann. Ryan,
this is my odds. I'll give him a plus 6,000.
Plus 6,000.
Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. All right. Is that all you got for NASCAR or from PGA?
PGA is done. Yeah.
All right. So you got some NASCAR bets for us?
I do.
All right. Let's hear it.
All right. So this weekend we got Darlington coming up, and I'll tell you this.
You better not be betting on Amarola.
Eric Almirola. He actually just got re-signed with
after that last race, after the
Right. I mean, he's locked in the playoffs.
oh my, what a disappointment last week. Let me tell you what. I told Ryan had some money on that one. Told him to get rid of him. Kept him in his lineup.
Hey,
probably cost Ryan a pull,
race was
a money,
at
a money.
Daytona Super Speedway, 2.5 mile track.
Where are we at this week?
Darlington, South Carolina.
Is that what is that a short track?
It's a 1.5 mile track.
Okay,
mile and a
so is
half
it just a speedway then?
It's a speedway. Yep, that's correct.
Is he good at those?
I wouldn't have Almirola in my lineup.
That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. Shouldn't have had him last week either. Who are your bets?
So here's what I like. Obviously, Kevin Harvick, 7-time winner this season. He'll have a solid top 5 finish, I believe. But I mean, of course, he's also a contender for the win, and that would be my bet is Kevin Harvick. But then you can't rule out Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is also a 7-time winner this season, and he has also won at that racetrack earlier this year as well.
So those are probably going to be guys that you're not winning a ton on.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so who are your long odds that you're kind of you're eyeballing like I might make a play on that guy?
Yeah. So I like Martin Truex Jr.
I feel like that's another top dog. I feel like that's a NASCAR name that's well known.
He's also just won 1 race this year.
Okay.
And he's finished top 5 the last 8 straight races.
Do you got a line on him for us?
I don't have a Vegas line on him, but for me, I would probably say a plus 750.
Okay.
That's not very long. That's not a very long odd shot, but I can't think of anyone else who would have.
I feel like you're going safe this weekend.
I'm going safe now.
Did you felt burned last weekend?
To be honest, I did.
Okay. So safer this week. Are we into the playoffs now?
Oh yeah, yep. Playoffs this weekend, and it's a retro paint scheme, so you'll see a lot of old-fashioned paint schemes out there on the tracks. It's gonna be nice.
Do we have a preview of any of them? Have you seen a preview of any of them?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah. How's Joey's look?
Joey's got a red and white paint scheme, 22 obviously, and Pennzoil.
Okay. So, Joey, I know he's your favorite racer. Why are you not taking him this week?
Joey, he's not a fan of Darlington Speedway, and I think that's just it. Some of these racers have preferences for their tracks, and this weekend's just not Joey's.
Has he raced poorly in the past at Darlington?
I wouldn't say poorly, but I would say consistent, but also
consistently not the best.
Right.
Okay.
Top 10s though.
Okay. You still gonna wear the hat though, right?
Of course, every all the time, every weekend, every race.
What time can we tune into that race?
That race will be. It'll be this weekend at
Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Sunday evening at 5 p.m. Central Time.
What network is it on?
It'll be on NBCSN.
NBCSN.
Or your local
affiliate.
Channel 4 station.
There you go.
NBC station. Also, Kyle Busch is another topic to talk about for this upcoming playoffs.
Why? What do you like
the
about
defending champ, winless this year.
Winless.
That
seems like a stay away trend. He's not winning this year.
You might think so, but he's a different racer in the playoffs.
He's built different in the playoffs.
Yep, he's got his mindset, mentality.
Kyle Busch, your classic frat boy in the playoffs. He built different. He's gonna overcome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any sleepers for us? Who's somebody who made the playoffs? You didn't expect to make the playoffs.
All right.
We have 32 racers still in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so
there's 16 playoff racers, and then you'll still have a full field of 42 racers. So my sleepers, I would say Matt DiBenedetto driving that 21.
Now he disappointed you last week as well.
Yes, he did.
Now are you disappointed?
But they're playing a different strategy than other teams. But
what are you disappointed? Is your disappointment purely because of the race? Because you were looking very nice before that giant wreck right at the end.
Right, yeah. I mean, Joey took the lead, and right away I knew, like, okay, this isn't going to be good. They're going way too fast behind him. Hamlin's on his side. Bubba Wallace driving the 43 was on the top.
He ended up top 3, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Or top 10.
Is he in the playoffs?
No.
Okay.
No. So William Byron, first time winner last weekend at Daytona.
He was also involved in that wreck. Any
right, yeah.
any animosity there that you're staying away from him because he wrecked your week last week?
No. William Byron would be a long shot driver. He's been consistent. Driving that number 24 car, legend number, driven by Jeff Gordon in the past. And actually, fun fact, Jeff Gordon and now William Byron are the only 2 drivers to ever win on the number 24 car. So we might see something out of William Byron this upcoming playoff. So,
do you have any stayaways?
Okay.
I mean, you haven't talked about Joey yet, and so I'm thinking.
So Joey will make the Final Four. He will. Bet on him making the championship run with the Final Four.
You want to get on? You want to put a bob on that?
I'll put 2 bobs.
You'll put 2 bob on that?
Yeah.
All right. Who do you want to make the bet with? You want to make the bet with me, or you want to make it with Will?
I'll make it with you, Ethan.
All right. 2 bob. I'm saying Joey will not finish top 4.
And he will.
And you think he will?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So even the person you're not even mentioning, you like a lot of people in this race. Mm-hmm. I'm still trying to figure out who you don't like. Who are you staying away from that's maybe a little overrated in your opinion?
Okay, for this upcoming race, the first race of the playoffs, playoff contenders, stay away from Alex Bowman, number 88. He's won 1 race this year, very inconsistent towards the end of the regular season. Hasn't shown any promise. Alex Bowman's one to stay away. Clint Boyer is one I would consider a dark horse or a sleeper.
Okay.
He's done decently well at Darlington Speedway, so I wouldn't count Clint Boyer out in the 14.
All right. Any futures things you're looking at in NASCAR for the playoffs? Anybody you're kind of keeping your eye on, see how they perform this weekend?
All right, so
weekend?
Throughout the rest of the playoffs, this weekend, next weekend, and etc., I would keep an eye on number 2, Brad Keselowski.
Okay.
Brad Keselowski is he's won 3 races, maybe 4, this season, and has numerous top 10s, and top 5s as well. So I wouldn't count him out of the championship run playoff or
all right.
Run as well.
So you're not ready to make. You're not feeling confident enough to make anything on him right now. But if he proves something, if he's racing well, you're gonna give him a look.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And actually, I did make a futures bet on Brad Keselowski before the season even started to win the championship.
Okay. All right.
And
well,
that was an odd that wasn't very good on my part, but we'll see.
Well, he made the playoffs, so you're doing better than probably somebody's dad who bet on them who didn't make the playoffs. So
right, Jimmy Johnson.
He probably had pretty good odds.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No?
No.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know anything about NASCAR, but I digress. We got our NASCAR expert in here. He's got his bets in. Any non-PGA or NASCAR bets you're looking at this week?
Nope. Nothing. Just
staying in
PGA,
your wheel.
NASCAR.
Staying in your wheelhouse.
Mine. Yep.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Ryan, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
We really appreciate the NASCAR aspect. That's something that Will and I don't know anything about.
Absolutely.
Clearly, I probably sounded like an uneducated buffoon. So we'll catch you guys next time. And always remember to
Save Saturdays.